Bill Maher calling out actor Sean Penn's seeming penchant for dictators. The Oscar winner had criticized the comedian for dining with President Trump. Maher pushed back, noting that was hypocritical. Let's watch.
Really? You'll meet with
I don't think
Castro and Hugo Chavez, but not the President of the United States?
Yeah, I saw good results come out of some of those things in terms of agendas that I had. I don't think that there's anything that I would... I just personally wouldn't trust anything that was said in the room.
In the early 2000s, Penn met with late Venezuelan President Hugo Chavez and also with communist Cuban leaders Fidel Castro and Raul Castro. Maher defended breaking bread with Trump. Watch.
I'm telling you, there's a very different guy behind closed doors in a different setting. Would you go to the dinner? I think you're crazy not to. Not to want to see up close the person who's this important in everybody's lives for the last decade.
You know, I completely understand that.
Two, are you going to lie about it? I'm sorry, I'm not a liar. I don't lie, so I told the truth. And then three, do I go back to doing what I always did? Yes, I did.
Reactions are pouring in. Dinesh D'Souza posted on X, quote, Bill Maher versus Sean Penn in The Kingdom of the Blind. The one-eyed man is king. Daniel DiMartino wrote, quote, Sean Penn is a disgrace. We all remember you hanging out with your pal, Hugo Chavez. Sean Penn, wonderful actor. He looked terrible there, by the way. Can I say? I don't know.
I don't want to comment on that man's
appearance. Does not look good. I just looked unhealthy or something. I don't mean to be rude to him. I think he's a great actor. I think he has terrible political judgment and has been used as a useful idiot by communist dictators. And Bill Maher was 1,000% correct to point out, you have some problem with me having dinner with Trump, but you met with Chavez and Castro and then sung their praises. And then like, oh, but, you know, as dissidents are being hailed off to jail, oh, but look how clean the street is or whatever. You know, they're showing you the one street where it looks nice. It's some right-wing people have started doing this with Russia's government as well. It's very annoying. They're don't go on orchestrated tours by the authoritarian government. You know, North Korea or China or whoever it is, they're going to take you and they're going to show you the nice part of town. Not going to show you the the camps where they keep dissidents.
Like don't interview. Yeah. In a sit-down one-on-one so he can give you propaganda like that. Yeah.
Well, no, the interview was fine.
Okay.
Just like the Bill Maher meeting with Trump is fine, and just like having meeting with Chavez, the meeting is fine. You should just be cognizant of what you're being shown when you're on the little tour about how great the country is.
Right.
That's my view.
You know, the message is fine. Like if you go sit down with somebody who you've criticized heavily on your very successful and popular show and you've criticized them to no end and then sit down and, oh, they were nice behind closed doors, totally different. And that's your feedback and talking about how great it was. There is room for criticism. People should be able to say, hey, Bill Maher, what's up? You know, why did you decide to take that meeting with somebody who you said all these things about? I think the messenger was just wrong, right? That's not the right person to come from who sat down with people and can have the same conversation thrown right back at him. But I think with Bill Maher, he made an important point there is that he said he hadn't stopped criticizing Trump afterwards. Now, if he changed his tone and got on air and was very much like, oh, no, this is great. You know, you have to keep consistent. Like he's a comedian, but, you know, even in review and taking some of those journalistic tactics on to ask questions, to challenge, you know, that's still important to do. And so he hasn't really stopped doing that as I watch his show. He seems very balanced in his thoughts. Sometimes he angers one side, sometimes he angers the other side. But that's exactly, if you're providing perspective, what you should do, right? You shouldn't just blindly be allegiant to one party, one person, or one thing. So I actually applaud the conversation and the meeting. I don't think anything was wrong with it. But I do think that your audience is going to naturally want you to explain why, especially Bill Maher is not the exact example, but some other people have met with President Trump that have been even more aggressive in their stance against President Trump. And that confuses people, right? That confuses people when you have leaders like Eric Adams, who has been vehemently against President Trump and then sits down when it comes to a pardon. It's like, what's he doing
Eric
for
Adams
you?
Is cosplaying as a Republican because he wants a pardon. And
exactly.
And now he can't possibly get elected except without Republican support. And there's not enough of it in New York City, so it's not going to happen.
But it's happened so much across the board that naturally voters and people who watch television are going to criticize and have their eyebrow raised when it's like, well, why are you now cozying up to President Trump? Is it because you just know that he was going to be president? Is it because you know that post this you want to work with him? Like, what's the reason outside of genuine curiosity? And I think that is a natural question to ask somebody who's been so critical and vocal about him.
Bill Maher, like myself, like many Americans, just has mixed feelings about Trump. Likes some of the things he does and says and dislikes other things that he does and says, or thinks that he could go a little bit less hard on this policy and a little bit harder on this one, or that, I think the tariffs are totally bad. I think deporting violent criminals is great, and mass deportation of, workers who aren't harming anyone else is a bad idea. I think DOJ was a good initiative. I think it should have been approved by Congress. It's a mixed bag. It's honestly a mixed bag. It's complicated. People who love Trump, there's millions of them, but overall, it's not everybody. People who have absolute Trump derangement syndrome and despise every single thing he does and would never give him credit for success in the foreign policy realm, where I've argued he's been most successful. That's millions of people too, but it's not everybody. And then there's a lot of us who have mixed feelings about him and want the best for our country and want him to listen to good impulses and then be a little bit more restrained on social media maybe, and then he would be a very effective president.
I'm not mad at ever breaking the echo chamber, right? I don't think people should sit inside of their silos of people that agree with them, because you can find anything to back up any information that you're looking for. So I agree that he should have met with him, but I also agree that all those people that blindly do love Trump that you mentioned, they're probably buying that phone and they shouldn't do that.
Oh my God, not the
they
phone.
Should not buy the
Enough
phone.
of the phone. I don't want to hear about the phone anymore. That does it for us on Rising Live. Please look out for more exclusive YouTube content coming your way today. You can be sure to like, share, and subscribe to The Hill's YouTube channel so you never miss any of our content. And for those of you who like to listen while on the go, we're now available anywhere you can listen to podcasts. It is only Tuesday, so we will be back with you tomorrow, Wednesday, for another excellent edition of Rising. We will see you then.